Hello, I'm Janine Turner, founder of Constituting America. Welcome to our annual academic study, History Holds the Key to the Future. Or, as Shakespeare says, what's past is prologue. This year's study is entitled The Genius of America, A Journey into Our Republic, a study on Alexis De Tocqueville's Democracy in America. Men who live in democratic countries must have something more productive and substantial in their pleasures. They want to mix satisfaction with their joy. Alexis De Tocqueville. This essay is entitled The Serious Attitude of Americans and Why It Often Does Not Prevent Them from Ill-Considered Actions. The reading is from Volume 2, Part 3, Chapter 15, pages 582 through 584 of Democracy in America, the University of Chicago Press edition. The Serious Attitude of Americans and Why It Often Does Not Prevent Them from Ill-Considered Actions by Dr. Erin Brooks-Hindman. This section of de Tocqueville's Democracy in America highlights a unique paradox and how democratic peoples generally, and Americans in particular, approach their daily economic and political lives. De Tocqueville makes two critical observations about our very American frenetic energy. First, he observes that Americans spend their days in business and politics more fervently than in an aristocratic or monarchical society. However, he secondarily notes that this fervency leads to quick and constant changes that may render us more foolish in our judgments than in these other political systems. In the first sense, de Tocqueville argues that Americans are always busy but attentive, moving constantly from one serious task to another. Accordingly, our American approach to government and economics prioritizes productivity over frivolity and wasted time. Even today, many of our leisure activities mix satisfaction of our goals with enjoyment. In short, we combine our, quote, side hustles, end quote, with our hobbies. De Tocqueville notes this, saying, quote, men who live in democratic countries do not prize the sorts of naive, unruly, and coarse entertainments that the people give themselves over to in aristocracies. They must have something more productive and substantial in their pleasures. They want to mix satisfaction with their joy, end quote. Democratic institutions inspire citizens to believe that involvement can improve their lives and country. Since citizen activity can impact policy and one's financial well-being, Americans consider all their activities in this light. They choose how to spend their time and seek to maximize its productivity rather than waste it. De Tocqueville notes that they, quote, want to mix satisfaction with their joy, end quote, because they know production comes with both good effects and pleasure. He argues here that people who live under democratic systems want to see productive, positive results from how they spend their time. As a direct result of this first observation, de Tocqueville secondarily shows that Americans can stumble into foolish choices. On first pass, this makes little sense. How can a population that takes everything seriously so frequently go down an unwise path? For de Tocqueville, though, this is not a true paradox. He argues that both the serious and the foolish originate from the same place, our frenetic energy. Americans are constantly being pulled from one task to the next. Democracies devolve the power of governing to the whole population. Thus, everyone must be more serious. De Tocqueville observes that, quote, one encounters an infinite number of people in all classes who are constantly preoccupied with the serious affairs of government, and those who do not think of directing the public fortune are left wholly to the cares of increasing their private fortunes. In such a people, gravity becomes a national habit, end quote. Politics is always serious, but in aristocracies, only one part of society must focus on that work. In America, freedom and equality among fellow citizens means that everyone is incentivized to stay engaged in one productive activity after another. We engage in such a wide range of activities that we avoid specialization and frequently improvise solutions to problems as we go. The constant activity from one improvisation to the next causes the country to get caught up in mistakes and miscalculations as we move too fast. In democracies, people confront so many, quote, grave and serious activities, end quote, competing for attention that they cannot pay sufficient attention to any one task to develop a deeper understanding of it. In short, De Tocqueville observes that Americans become generalist improvisers, a, quote, jack of all trades, masters of none, end quote. Thus, the combination of having only a cursory knowledge of a variety of topics, but the ability to be involved in meaningful and substantive activities has the potential to lead to mistakes in both business and policy. He points out that, quote, in democracies, men are never settled. 1,000 accidents make them change place constantly, and there almost always reigns something unforeseen and, so to speak, improvised in their lives. Thus, they are often forced to do what they have learned badly, to speak of what they scarcely understand, end quote. Thus, various competing demands prevent Americans from developing a depth of knowledge that would lead to consistently wise decisions. Instead, frequently forced to act as generalists with little expertise, they inevitably stumble. Ultimately, though, De Tocqueville holds that American flexibility in the face of all the activities that compete for their attention becomes an asset. Accordingly, the people will recover well from isolated instances of folly. De Tocqueville points out elsewhere that the same individual can take risks, fail, and then move into something new multiple times within a lifetime, and society will never think less of them for their errors. The principle applies to the whole population as well. Constant activity will likely help the country move beyond any single miscalculation. Frenetic optimism remains. This essay was written by Erin Brooks-Hindman. Erin Brooks-Hindman earned her BA in politics from Hillsdale College in 2008 and continued her graduate education at Regent University and Claremont Graduate University, where she earned her PhD in 2022. Specializing in Western and American political thought, her recent research is on civilian-military relations and the need for character-based officer education. While at Holy Cross, she has taught various courses, including introductory courses in both political philosophy and American government, as well as upper division courses on the American national security infrastructure and American political thought.